Call this June 22nd, 2020 council meeting in order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry for the delay. We ran over on finance a little bit, but we wanted to make sure we get it all done. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Heffinger.
Here.
Lamb. Here. Rose. Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coyne.
Here.
Hazeltine.
Present.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes from the regular meeting of June 8, 2020, as submitted and prepared by the clerk, be approved. Second.
Discussion on the reading of the minutes. Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. Finance Committee met prior to the council meeting this evening. We're going to meet on July 13th before our break. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Streets and Sidewalks, Mr. Heffinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Water and Utilities, Mrs. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
And Emerging Technologies, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Thank you. Request for council action. We have several for finance. We have 2131 increased expenditure PO number 2571 Goodyear Tire Sanitation, 2132 expenditure over 15,000 for Drug Mart job creation grant payments, 2133 CARES Act resolution, 2134 refinance existing debt and possible new debt issue, 2135 resolution against racism, 2136 2020 codification update, 2137 MCRC summer special membership sale extension, 2138 grant application Medina Municipal Airport obstruction removal study, 2139 task order number 5 for Delta Airport Consultants obstruction removal study, 2140 railroad emergency repair then and now, 2141 accept donations to keep Memorial Pool open, 2142 MCRC partner marketing contract extension, and 2143 bids for project 947 Medina Municipal Airport detention basin, and finally 2144 increased expenditure PO 2011-60 Rocco Masonry for the public buildings. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Related to the COVID-19, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the public for helping to reduce the spread by following the guidelines of social distancing, wearing masks in public, and avoiding large gatherings. We've been talking weekly with the Medina County Health Commissioner, and our numbers are generally staying flat or dropping, as opposed to some other areas in the state and worse yet in other parts of the country. I'd also like to ask the public to please continue to support our local businesses as they try to ramp back up for the 2 months that they lost. On the south side of City Hall here, the new parking deck is being constructed. This was supplemented by a $1 million capital grant from the state of Ohio. It's progressing very well. They expect the brickwork to start shortly and hoping to complete near the end of June or early July, all weather dependent. I'd like to ask the residents to please complete the U.S. Census form that was sent to the houses, or will be. You can either do it digitally or you can mail it in, but it's important that all the residents are counted. These numbers help us to qualify for state and federal grants. The original Medina Farmers Market opened its 15th season on our square on June 6th and will run through October 17th. The market is open. This is a little bit different this year, is open from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for guests over 59 or those that are immune compromised, and then from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. for the regular shoppers. The market is presented in partnership with the City of Medina. It's sponsored by Medina Hospital, Cleveland Clinic Hospital. Due to social distancing requirements and concerns for the safety of guests and vendors, the market has been reduced to roughly 20 full-time vendors and another 6 to 8 part-time vendors. A full selection of products will be offered. And for more information and to see the customer shopping guidelines, please visit the MedinaFarmersMarket.com or Medina Farmers Market on Facebook. The July 4th parade and fireworks have had to be canceled due to the restrictions by the Ohio State Health Director on large gatherings. The city is going to have some expenses that were expended already. Anything that we can carry over to next year, we will do that. But we're not sure yet whether the insurance or the permit from the state of Ohio can be carried over. And then there were some reservations of the trucks so that they would be available on July 3rd, and those have to be paid as well by the vendor. On July 4th, there's an organization trying to create a World Day of Prayer. And it's asking everybody on July 4th, wherever you are, just to pray for the repair of the world, of the COVID virus and other health concerns, along with the equality of all people, and to guide us to peace and love in our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one item for council and the public this evening. On Saturday, June 20th, the Economic Development Team for Medina County kicked off a new initiative called Vocal for Local. And we got together and we thought, how could we support our small businesses, our restaurants, our retail service industry that has been affected by COVID. So the cities of Medina, Brunswick, and Wadsworth are two Main Street programs, Medina and Wadsworth Medina Chamber of Commerce, the Northern Medina County Chamber Alliance, the Seville Area Chamber, and the Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce, along with Medina County Economic Development Corporation, Lodi and Harrisville Economic Development Organizations in the Village of Seville, collectively decided to have one voice to support our small business community. So we came up with Vocal for Local, and basically put your money where your mouth is. So we're asking people that can support our businesses to go out and shop and dine, whether it's online or in person, based on your level of comfort with going out. And we have we set up a website called vocalforlocalmedinacounty.com, where we've done interviews of the businesses. We have a list of business directories just to kind of connect everybody to those businesses. And we will be doing more promotions as we continue our Vocal for Local. So we just ask everybody to shop, dine, unwind, and be kind as you're out supporting our local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a number of things on the agenda that originated with finance that I will address when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things to note. One, we need to request to add to the agenda the acceptance of donations for the memorial pool. Would also like to thank all of the community and organizations who donated to the pool opening. Secondly, I'd like to talk about, starting tomorrow morning, the Medina Rec will start the opening of the outdoor memorial pool. On July 6th, we hope to be open, and we will post any updates regarding hours and restrictions this week on our website and our Facebook page. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. A little update with our South Broadway project. We're almost done with the underground work. We expect to begin pavement removal in the next week or two. We did want to notify the residents, and they will get a notification in writing, but at this point we anticipate placing the concrete pavement in mid-July, which is much sooner than we expected. But to advise the residents, that will require a 5-day period where they will not be able to get to their driveways. Our notification till then will contain information about where they could park if they choose. The second thing I wanted to note for council is that this week we are beginning our sidewalk program. That's the program will remove and replace deficient sidewalks, and property owners will be assuming the cost for that work.
Thank you, Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
I have no report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public are permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the council during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered in the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? I have one comment, and I'll check on Facebook if we have anything. This is from Ralph Jock. His comment has a request to cease expenditures on the courthouse project. In these difficult financial times, it is ill-advised for the City of Medina to continue to spend its dwindling taxpayer dollars in pursuit of a joint city-county courthouse project. The City Council has the ability to withdraw from the project and to cease all further expenditures through majority vote of council. I encourage council to immediately take up this matter for a vote. I also urge all voters of the City of Medina to sign a courthouse petition, which will give the people the vote on the courthouse project. People wishing to sign the initial petition can find information at www.saveyourcourthouse.com or may call 330-722-5567. Thank you, Ralph Jock, 523 East Friendship Street, Medina, Ohio. Is there any other comments on Facebook up there?
No, there aren't.
All right, thank you. Introduction and consideration of ordinance and resolutions. I'd entertain a motion to suspend rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 11420, Resolution 11520, Ordinance 11620, Ordinance 11720, Ordinance 11820, Ordinance 11920, Ordinance 12020, Resolution 12120, Resolution 12220, Ordinance 12320, Ordinance 12420, and Ordinance 12520.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I make a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second.
Any discussion on suspending the rules on 3 readings? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the motion?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11420, an ordinance authorizing a job creation grant agreement for Carlisle Break and Fiction, Inc.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mrs. Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is for the mayor to enter into a job creation grant agreement with Carlisle Break and Friction for the purpose of consolidating a portion of their headquarter operations from Solon to Medina. The project entails an office renovation and addition of a mezzanine to accommodate 48 employees at the 920 Lake Road facility. They will have a total investment of $1.9 million for the office improvements, and they have created or committed to creating the 48 new full-time positions with new payroll of $5,558,693 to the City of Medina, with the project timeline scheduled to be completed late this year in 2020. The agreement will provide Carlisle Break and Friction with a grant up to 40% of new payroll taxes to the City of Medina for 7 years. And a minimum payment, if they just met that goal exactly, would be, for 1 year, would be $27,793.47. Or at the maximum end, because we do put a cap of 25% on that, so a maximum payment could be $34,741.83, and multiply that by 7 years. The Business Development Committee did meet to review the project and made the recommendation to council. We respectfully request approval of the job creation grant agreement, and as a reminder to council and the public that the job creation grant payments are paid from non-income tax generated revenues. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 114-20 passes 7-0.
Resolution 11520, resolution accepting the technology grant award from the Ohio Supreme Court for the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor Hanwell?
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Medina Municipal Court and Judge Warner, this is a grant that they received for $62,950 through the Supreme Court to enhance the servers at the municipal court, and respectfully ask for council's passage of this.
Thank you. Any further question or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Resolution 115-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11620, an ordinance adopting 3 amendments to the City of Medina Section 125 plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause and ordinance. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are 3 amendments to our Section 125 plans. One of them is not related to COVID. It's just a periodic thing, and that is to increase the amount of rollover that's permitted in the FSA. The FSA is a flexible spending account. It's pre-tax dollars, and the rollover previously was limited to $500. We're increasing that to $550 in accordance with the IRS upping that so that we can. The other 2 changes are related to COVID. One is to allow mid-year changes to FSA and DCA accounts. FSA is flexible spending accounts. Those are for healthcare, and DCA is dependent care accounts. And the reason that we're allowing mid-year changes, the IRS is allowing us to do that because a lot of people have a reason to have a mid-year change due to COVID. A lot of people with dependents have their daycare closed, or their spouse got laid off, or whatever, things change, so they need to increase or decrease that. This will allow them to do that. Ordinarily, they can only change at the open enrollment period, which is for the calendar year. And then the third change is to extend the FSA and DCA grace period for 2019 dollars in 2020 all the way to December 31st. Ordinarily, it's only April 15th.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment?
Mr. President, I
Rose.
think for those who do not understand what a Section 125 plan, just so the residents understand, it's
Sure.
not city funds.
Right. This is not city funds. It's employee funds, and the benefit for the employee is it's pre-tax dollars. So the employee can elect to have some money withheld from their check, and it goes into an FSA, which is for things that aren't covered on health care. So like your deductibles and your co-pays, or some people use it for LASIK, things like that. And then dependent care is the same type of thing. It's employee dollars, but it's pre-tax money. It's deducted from the employee's checks, goes into this account, and then they can pay for their child care with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further question or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 116-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11720, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a repayment of funds that were loaned from the Special Projects Fund to the Software Fund.
Any further questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 117-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11820, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with GIS Group LLC for GIS asset management software for services for the City of Medina Water Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. This proposal will provide GIS asset management and software services for the water department. It allows for the planning and the management and maintenance of our water system. Some examples of the assets are the pipeline, the valves, hydrants, so on, any equipment, all equipment used. The street department will be able to utilize this data base as well once and build upon it in their programming. So this is something the city engineer and the water superintendent and I have been chatting about for years, and we're hopeful to be able to pull the trigger on this.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Ordinance 118-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 11920, an ordinance amending sections 3102B, 3105, 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the street department, accepting the job description of the sign technician.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. So several years ago, the city street department purchased a sign-making machine, which has benefited the city greatly in the last few years. The task of making a sign has been taken on by a seasonal laborer. It's a unique position with computer necessary skill sets. The current full-time union personnel in the street department have been offered the position, and wanting to work with it and carry on the task, and there's no interest. During our Teamster negotiations, we agreed to the adding of 2 part-time union positions in the bargaining unit, one of which will be the sign technician, the other will be general labor. Civil Service Commission has approved the same.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 119-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12020, an ordinance amending section 3105 and 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Water Department and abolishing the job description of system testing technician.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. So we're asking to abolish the current full-time position. It has been vacant for almost 8 years. The duties have been utilized and performed by other people in the department, so there's nothing been lacking other than the position hasn't been filled. So we're asking to abolish this position and add the addition of a full-time laborer, which is a lesser cost to the department and the city in the whole. As we spoke with the Teamsters back with negotiations, this was agreed to as well, and civil service.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 120-20 passes 7-0.
Resolution 12120, a resolution adopting the tax budget of the City of Medina, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, and submitting the same to the Medina County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham?
I need an emergency clause on this too, please.
Nope. Mr. Shields?
I'll amend to add the emergency clause.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause on the resolution. Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. The tax budget provides the basis for the revenue estimate that we operate on with our budgets. The reason the emergency clause is requested is it needs to be turned into the county by no later than July 20th, which is more than 30 days from now.
Any questions on the emergency clause and or the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Simpson.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes. Sorry.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Resolution 121-20 passes 7-0.
Resolution 12220, a resolution affirming that all funds received from the County Coronavirus Relief Distribution Fund pursuant to House Bill 481 be expended only to cover costs of the City of Medina, Ohio, consistent with the requirements of Section 5001 of the CARES Act as described in 42 U.S.C. 601D.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields.
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the resolution. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have to pass this to be eligible to receive funds from this coronavirus CARES Act pass-through.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 122-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12320, an ordinance to approve, adopt, and enact current replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the City of Medina, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. This is just a annual update of our codified ordinances that we pass as legislators for the City of Medina, and this is just to codify them. Any further questions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Ordinance 123-20 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 12420, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5517 passed April 24, 2017, relative to the temporary extension of the summer special membership sales for 2020 season at the Medina Community Recreation Center.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause and ordinance. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just to extend our summer membership to August, September, October to allow the patrons to get more comfortable with coming back to the rec center. Asking for the emergency clause because it needs to start before August 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Ordinance 124-20 passes 7-0.
At this time, I entertain a motion to add ordinance number 12520.
Move to add ordinance 12520.
Second.
Discussion on adding ordinance 12520, which is an ordinance accepting donations for the memorial pool.
Does that need an emergency clause or no?
We didn't get that far yet. Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on adding ordinance 12520?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 12520 is an ordinance accepting donations for the memorial pool.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the motion to accept donations. Mr. Wright?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the ordinance to accept donations for opening the outdoor memorial pool. We plan to open by July 6th and want to be able to accept those donations before we open. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the accepting of the donations or the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Heffinger.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Resolution 125-20 passes 7-0.
Council comments. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. I'd like to thank the people that worked so hard on raising donations to assist with the cost of reopening the pool, Mr. Barr and Ms. Halleck. It is something that I believe that is going to benefit a lot of our residents. I've received a number of emails and calls regarding the reopening, and as Mr. Wright said, it hopes the opening date will be July 6th and can run through the season. It's going to be a lot of hard work for the rec center and the staff, and I sure do appreciate, and I appreciate the public being patient with the city. The other thing I'd like to give thanks to is my colleagues on council and the administration for addressing some of the delinquent water accounts that has occurred over the last 3 months with the COVID virus. Other than that, thanks for everybody being patient with the restrictions caused by the virus. It feels good to get out and about. Please remember to use social distancing and mask when possible, and be kind to each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional council comments? Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since the last meeting, Joel and I had an opportunity to at least 3 restaurants in town, and I have to say that they really, really want to get your business back because we felt very safe there, if you will. Everything was well done regarding safety and health. The tables were properly placed. Things were cleaned off as soon as an area was vacated. Your silverware came to you wrapped in a separate plastic wrap or something instead of just a napkin in one case. And it just, from my vantage point anyway, I felt that the employees were all well-trained to address the issues that may have come about. So, I don't know, based on my experience, go eat at the local restaurants. I think you'll find a good event there for yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Lamb. You look like you wanted to say something.
Pardon me?
You took your mask off. I thought you were...
I did. I do have two things. First of all, I want to thank Councilwoman Hazeltine for her work on the coffee with Bill and Jess. We had, I think, 2,700 views on our last program. It was really pretty interesting. In case anybody here saw it or anybody didn't see it, we had Roger Smalley, and he gave kind of a presentation format, and it was pretty fascinating. It was about the restoration and preservation in town, and I shared with the mayor earlier in the week, I think, that I've been here for over 40 years, and you think you basically know everything, and there was a number of things that he brought up that I realized I probably should have known.
There was a lot he brought up that I got schooled on.
Right. Well, there was a number of things I was totally surprised to learn. That you never know. It's a good thing to recognize, how much we really just don't know. But what I really want to talk about right now is this. The Medina County Fair should be a welcoming experience for everyone to attend. And as our county apparently is suffering an absence of leadership on the issue of the Confederate flag at the fair, I want to, first of all, extend my thanks to Leah Nichols, who is one of the women who started the community garden last year that was so successful. And I want to thank her for filling the void by organizing an online petition drive to ban the sale of that symbol of racism at the fair. The state murder of George Floyd made us witness to the targeted racial injustice that is all too real and prevalent in our nation. And it leaves us now with a choice. We can ignore the cry of racial equality, allowing its evil effects to go on, or we can finally step up and commit to fulfilling the promise that was made 244 years ago, that all people are created equal, by treating all people equally. Of all the work we have the opportunity to do, I would think that the removal of racist symbols would be both obvious and the easiest. That's why I so appreciate the efforts of Leah Nichols to step in on the side of good to ban the Confederate flag from the fair, since local officials have either remained silent or have chosen to align themselves with false and discredited excuses of it's part of our history, or I don't want to take a stance on that. The history of that battle flag in question, first of all, it is a battle flag. The history of that battle flag is treason in the name of maintaining a state system of human slavery. In a war that caused the death of 750,000 combatants, which would make it 2.5% of the population of the United States in 1861. Soldiers who fought under the Confederate flag were killing American soldiers. Today, that flag has been appropriated by white supremacists. After the Civil War, that flag all but disappeared, except for in regional areas of the South. Then in the beginning, in 1948, the flag made a resurgence when it was popularized by South Carolina Governor and segregationist Strom Thurmond when he ran for president. After that, it was used as a banner for the Ku Klux Klan, white citizens' councils, segregationist mobs, and then becoming a symbol of white supremacy that it is today, often seen carried with the Nazi flag and anti-Jewish symbols. Leah Nichols has taken a leadership position on the side of good to ban the flag. Symbolic statements are significant. The removal of a symbol related to treason or white supremacy is meaningful, and it can serve as a beginning to fix the structural inequalities that continue to exist in our society. As a community, we need to condemn the use of white supremacy symbols anywhere and everywhere, and demand that the county fair recognize the importance of banning this flag of traitors and racists. Anything short of a ban should be unacceptable and would be indicative of complicity. Leah Nichols' online petition as of tonight has garnered 4,301 signatures. She has yet to hear back from the Fair Board. The Fair Office phone number is 330-723-9633, and the email is medinafair, all one word, @gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional council comments?
Mr. President, before just...
Oh, Mr. Huber?
I just wanted to tell you, it's nice to see the council back in the building. These meetings have cohesion and direction that is missing in virtual meetings, and so it's nice to have all of you here.
Well, thanks. We're glad to be back.
Good to see you too, Greg.
Mrs. Hazeltine?
Sometimes when you want to say something, somebody else has already said it better. So I'm going to go ahead and read a statement that was issued by the Medina County Young Democrats about the Confederate flag at the Medina County Fair. They are elated that the Medina County Fair Board has reconsidered their previous decision to cancel the fair and has decided to hold the 175th Medina County Fair. The fair is an important event for our community and residents. Over the years, the fair has allowed everyone to come together and celebrate the agricultural and livestock achievements of Medina County. The fair originated as a celebration and has undergone many changes throughout the years. We also believe that it is time that another change takes place at the fair. For many years, the Confederate flag has been displayed by vendors and sold during the fair. However, it is now time that the Medina County Fair Board prohibit the sale and/or display of these items moving forward. The Ohio State Fair voluntarily disallowed this practice in 2015. It is time Medina County made the same choice. We are not trying to erase American history or change it. The flag represents a time in our history that we were at war with one another. The people of color were thought of as property. The Confederate flag is associated with historical revisionism and glorification of the Civil War, racism, slavery, white supremacy, treason, and attempted intimidation of people of color. It does not belong at the Medina County Fair, which is a time for people to come together and celebrate. As stated in our Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can our neighbors pursue a life of happiness when by constantly having to view a hate-filled and racist symbol at a celebration? Until such time as the Medina County Fair Board sees fit to ban the display and/or Confederate flag sale and return the fair to its origins of community celebration of agricultural and livestock achievements, the Medina County Young Democrats will not participate in the fair or any fair-sponsored events. And that goes for myself as well.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.